The 2013 Broncos put up an offensive explosion unlike anything the NFL had ever witnessed. They were led by the Sheriff, the GOAT, the legend Peyton Manning, and the Broncos put up points at an unprecedented rate. They were able to pass the ball all over the field, and they spread it to an absolutely insane amount of dynamic playmakers that made their offense next to impossible to stop. And I have recreated them for you to use in Madden 23. Now in this video, we will be breaking down doubles HB weak and trips Y flex in the Atlanta Falcons playbook. Now, the first thing that made this offense so tough to stop was their ability to get the ball out to 5 weapons who could all make explosive plays whenever they touch the football. Now, the first play we are looking at is Y cross and doubles HB weak, and this is a great play versus zone coverage to attack the whole field. Here we want our slot to the wide side, and then I put him on a hitch, then take the running back and put him on a swing pass to the short side of the field. Now, right as you snap the ball, you want to check the hitch, and if their zones are all dropping back, then you just want to quick throw this underneath. This is a great way to force them to start playing way tighter underneath, or you can just throw this in hot all game. Next, if at the snap the flat defender jumps down to the hitch, then you can wait for the tight end crosser to get open across the field, and you can fire this in over the flat defender's head in along the sideline. But if you see a hole open up over the middle right away with this crosser, then you can quick throw it in earlier as well. Then if after the snap the hitch is covered and the user and the hooks are getting pulled out of the middle of the field by the crosser, then you have a backside dig really attacking and replacing the middle of the field. Then for the fourth read, you have a running back on a swing. If the whole D is getting pulled to the wide side, then you can fire it into the running back sneaking out and let him grab easy rack yards. Now at the helm of the Broncos ship was Peyton Manning. He was the ultimate field general at quarterback, and he revolutionized how the position was played. With his incredible football IQ and his ability to put his team in the perfect position once he got to the line of scrimmage, he could attack whatever weakness he found in the defense, and it made his offenses so tough to handle. But his 2013 season was his best. He racked up the most passing yards ever in a season with 5,477. He had an NFL record 55 touchdown passes and was able to take home his record 5th NFL MVP. Now at this spot, I am using Steve McNair, who has the ability to sit in the pocket and deliver the football with great accuracy, just like Peyton, and I have set feet lead on my quarterback to make sure I can get extra zip on the football. So the perfect play to use Manning's strengths is slot fork in trips Y flex, and this will work amazingly well versus man coverage or zone looks. So we're going to look at our man beating setup first. So if you get to the line and that's what you read, you want to have your trips to the wide side, then you want to motion the solo receiver in and put him on a slant, then block your running back for extra time. Now after the snap, look to the corner route, and I have short and elite on this player, and he will absolutely break his man off and get great separation versus man. This is a really amazing route, and it is my go-to way to beat man coverage really consistently in this Broncos offense. Next, look to the tight end underneath, and he will have this really quick break versus man that will allow you to get really easy yards underneath. Next, if the front side is covered, we have the backside slant that will do a great job of getting inside of his man, and this is a great third option. Then if they bring all their safeties down and they have no one in the middle of the field, we have this post from our outside receiver on the trip side, and if you see him get a step on his coverage, then you can bomb them over the top for a really big play down the field. Now if you get to the line and you think it's zone, we still want our trips to the wide side. You still want to motion your backside player in, but now we can leave him on his dig route and then once again block your running back. Now here, look to the wide side first, and you want to high-low the flat defender. If he stays back, look to the tight end underneath, but if he jumps down, then you can throw the corner in over his head for a big gain along the sideline. Then if the user leaves the middle to try and help take away the corner route, then you can throw in the backside dig over the middle for a nice gainer as a third option versus zone. Now over the past 30 years, the NFL has been changing and turned into an offensive game with star quarterbacks at the center of the team on the field, and then creative genius level coaches designing new explosive ways to attack offensively. So I wanted to break down the top 5 offenses ever and show you how you can run each of them in Madden. Now number 5 through number 2 will each have one video, but then the number 1 offense will be a full scheme breakdown where I give you 5+ videos based around that offense. Now leave a comment down below who you think will be in the rest of the top 5. Then if you want to check out all the other schemes that are out so far for the top 5, I will leave a link in the description for a playlist with them all. So the 2013 Broncos are coming in at number 3 of my all-time greatest NFL offense. They broke an absolute ton of records, and statistically you could make an easy case that they're the number 1 offense of all time. They have the record for the most points points scored in a season with 606. They have the second most yards in NFL history with 7,317 and the most passing yards ever in a season with 5,444. There is absolutely no doubt that this Denver offense is one of the most historic and iconic that we have ever seen. Now, the Broncos were undoubtedly a pass-first team, but they would still supplement their offense with the run game and quick passes. This just made it so much easier on Peyton when he could hand it off and pick up easy yards, or if he had numbers to the outside, then he could fire it out where they were in his favor. The play we are using here is RPO zone alert bubble. Now here we want our bubble to the wide side, then take the solo receiver and motion him over to create a trips look. Now you want to see how many players you have on the trip side, and if you outnumber them, then after the snap, you can just flip it out to your bubble right away, let your players pick up a block and try to make a play in the open field. Or if at the snap you see all the defenders suck down and inside, then you can once again just fire out the bubble and you should have a ton of room to operate and make them pay. Now the player who played this role for the Broncos was Wes Welker. He was the original slot receiver and he excelled on these bubble plays out on the perimeter and was a great option attacking the middle of the field as a safety blanket for Peyton. In the 2013 season, Wes caught 73 balls for 778 yards and 10 touchdowns in only 13 games. Now in this spot, I am using Michael Crabtree. He will be our slot receiver in both formations we break down today, and I do have short and elite on this player to make sure he can separate against man, and he is our #1 option on most of our man beating plays. Then in RPO read bubble, we can also hand this off. If the outside is overloaded with defenders, then you can hand it off to your running back and let him make a play in the open field. This can be very explosive, especially if they are keeping their safeties back. Now, if you want to unlock even more for this scheme, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now is part 2 of this Broncos scheme where I break down 8 more plays to give you so many more options to attack your opponent in this Broncos offense. This is really one of my favorite schemes I have used all year. Then up on the site are all of my past schemes like my ultimate mobile QB offense, my Alabama Nick Saban defense, and the rest of the top 5 offenses like the 91 Bills and the 2011 Saints. So if you want to check out anything on the site, use top 5 at checkout for 50% off your first month, and this sale will run till November 15th. So if you want to check out Scheme Kings, I will leave a link for it down in the description below. Now, what made this offense so special and really difficult to stop was their ability to make you cover each blade of grass. They would send all 5 of their dynamic players out on routes and force you to cover the whole field, and Manning would just pick you apart. The perfect play for this is shake HB corner and doubles HB weak, and this is amazing at attacking a ton of different zone coverages out there. Here have the tight end to the wide side, then take the wide receiver on that side and put him on a streak. First, we want to attack the middle of the field, and if the user leaves, then we have this shallow cross from our slot receiver that you can fire in for a nice gain. Then if the user jumps to the shallow cross, then we have this deep post that gets in behind the hook and stays in front of the deep blue zones, and you can just rifle this in. This is a very good route to really pick up some big gains. When their hook stays shallow, just make sure you keep it in front of the safety. Then you can look to the running back out of the backfield, and if the flat defender on the short side stays shallow, you can drop this in over his head along the sideline. Then lastly, we have the tight end wheel. This is a great route at attacking deep down the field. You will see it get in behind the flat defender on the wide side, and the streak will run off the deep blue. Then you can just drop this into the soft spot versus zone coverage, and this can be a really big gainer down the field. Then a huge component of this scheme was getting their athletes down the field. They wanted to stretch the field vertically and let some of their big time players make big time plays, and a huge one for them was Julius Thomas at tight end. He was an excellent receiver and a tremendous athlete who was a really great vertical option in the pass game while still allowing them to keep a tight end on the field. In 2013, he had 65 receptions for 788 yards in 12 touchdowns in only 14 games. At tight end, I'm using Greg Olsen, who is a great option underneath but can get deeper down the field, and I have short and elite on him so he can get extra separation versus man. Now for this play, I'm using wide receiver smash, and this is a great way to attack deep down the field versus zone. Here have the trips to the wide side, then motion the solo receiver in and put him on a streak, then put the running back on an out route to the wide side of the field, then put the outside receiver on the trip side on a streak. Now first look to the wide side, and you want to high-low the flat defender. If he stays shallow at all, then you can just throw this deep corner route in over his head along the sideline. This route is super tough to stop and will get open versus most zones in the game. Then if you are getting quick pressure in at the QB or the flats are dropping way out, then you can just check it down to the running back underneath and let him make a play in the open field. Then you can also look to the tight end on the post, and if the user leaves the middle to try to take away your corner route, then this post will get wide open deep down the field. This route gets so deep in behind hooks, and the deep zones will get run off by the solo side receiver, and this is going to allow you to pick up easy big plays down the field. Then a huge part of their success was getting their best best athletes in space and letting them make plays after the catch. And no one was better at this than Demaryius Thomas. He was a freight train in the open field and was so tough to bring down, but he was also an amazing route runner and athlete to get wins all over the field. He was their go-to weapon in 2013, and he racked up 92 receptions for 1,430 yards and 14 TDs. You know, he was generally an outside receiver, and for my two outside players, I have Calvin Johnson and Jerry Rice, who are both also big, strong athletes who have the speed and athleticism to make plays all over the field just like Demaryius. Then the play to showcase our rack yards is double post in trips Y flex, and this is going to be a man-beating setup. Here have the trips to the wide side, then motion the solo receiver in and put him on a whip. Now once you drop back, you'll have an out route to either side. The whip will be on the solo side, and it is really good at separating versus man. Then you will have an out route to the wide side, and you can go to either one for really nice yardage. Now I do have short and elite on the out route, and it can really break off man coverage and allow you to pick up some super consistent yards even when they shade outside, making this a super deadly route versus man. Then we have the crosser from the tight end that will do a really good job over the middle and is another very good option versus man coverage. But then the great route here is our post on the outside. As he cuts in, he will get really good separation versus man, and you can rack catch this just like Demaryius Thomas would. This post is really one of the best routes that I've found at attacking the middle of the field, especially if they start to overplay to take those routes away along the sideline. Now the 2013 Broncos is one of the best, most explosive offenses of all time. But if you want to run the most unique playbook in the game with a more old school offense that is still crazy explosive, then you need to check out this video right here where I break down my number 4 offense of all time, the 91 Bills